Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology and welcome to my fourth live stream on this channel. This is the first time I'm doing this. I would wait for a little bit so I can get audio feedback. Is audio and video working? Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to. Yep, audio is working, so I hope everything is fine. Audio and video is working. MD Kumar, hi sir. Oh, you guys have joined in this channel also. That is interesting. This is an English channel only. Let that be very clear. So, what did the title mean? Well, here's the deal. If you have watched my last video, that was a bit extra. I talked about that I'm gonna make some changes in my channel because how I was running it, it was not producing result basically. I was neither getting basically views, money, or anything like that. So, and okay, I tried for 3 years, so I have enough data to know that stagnation, which generally comes before it goes downhill. So, I took a risk. Now, thankfully, I generally work in advance, so you guys would not have noticed anything change this week. However, next week will be a mess. I do apologize for that, but I'm still trying to do the basically a cringe word I have to say. Trying to find myself. I have no other way of putting it. It's like I'm still trying to figure things out. Because I genuinely do not have that sort of artistic sense where I can just make something physically. That part I can get it, but like to capture it and sell it in such a way where it's like, whoa, I do not have that intrinsically that sort of art set. So I'm trying to figure out what to do. So next week you're gonna get some talking video. Now be mindful if you are watching my channel for Camera Tuesday, you do not have to worry about it because I opened a third channel that was Camera Tuesday Hindi alone, isolated, so I'm not tampering with that. So my Monday workout is very well set, cut out. I do not have to worry about anything, but everything other than that is in flux. So why is this channel not for only paid subscription? It's a very small channel, that is why. It's a very small channel. My main Hindi channel is like 250,000 subscribers, so I get a lot of spam in that. So for that reason, and I was getting way too much repeat comment. Even though I was actually trying to reply to every single comment, problem was it was becoming just frustrating. It was very frustrating. If you watch my very early live streams, which I did in a Hindi channel, it was open for all, but I just could not handle it. I tried bots also and all that. It did not work out. Everybody was just repeat, repeat, repeat. So I was like, okay, if you're gonna fry my brain, might as well pay for me the treatment. If you're not, it's like, okay. So for that reason, paid only. It's basically a spam filter for me. I do not want to use it, but like I have tried everything else. So that was the only option. So what to do with this channel? Well, I'm very happy with the interaction in this channel, so that's why I'm keeping it alive. And again, I do need to remember how to speak English, otherwise I will forget surprisingly quickly, because again, it's my second language. And not to mention, I do not used to I do not have any need for it day-to-day life-wise, so it does start to slip unless I go to some conference and all that. I rarely need to use it, so for that reason I really need to keep it polished, so to say. Hi, I'm from Hindi channel. Yeah, but yes, here I'm not gonna use Hindi because this is an English only channel. So if you're watching, that's up to you. I do expect you to understand English in this channel. So that's the intent of it. So as to what I'm doing right now, I've tried one directly talk video where I'm talking directly into face. Let's see how you guys respond with that. Another video is that I did made basically minimum viable product of a fume extractor, which I want to show, and I really want to upgrade that because it's a useful tool that many of you who are looking into electronics can build and actually deploy in your life where it's actually useful. So for that reason, I'm trying to do it, and I have already made one video on it. Second video would be CAD modeling, although it's a bit difficult. I have captured majority of the CAD is done. I have captured most of it, but problem is I was speaking in Hindi when I was capturing it, so I think I have to do voiceover in it. That would be a difficult experience, but a man has to do what a man must do. I will do that, and then I'll upload it, see what's what. And again, it's a very good project. So it will have a few segments. The first segment is just like what was my plan, what I was trying to solve, and like the pipeline. Second is the CAD modeling, because again, CAD for 3D printing is a bit different. And if you just brute force it, if you have a very powerful, large volume 3D printer, it's not an issue. But again, if you have a very low cost printer like I do, Ender 3, it's not going to cut it. For that reason, you have to design it far more optimistically. And I want to make it more of a product where you can just like, okay, take the files and print. Oh, somebody donated. That's why this UPI ID, anybody who uses a UPI can use this, or same QR code if you have using mobile phone. Let me check the donation. The reason I use this donation method because it directly comes to me without any cut. There is no cut. So if you send even a $1, it comes to me $1. Although it's only for India, so or some foreign countries, not in USA. So there is that transaction history. Let me just check. Hold on. Huh. Uh, Deepak, DIPAK, Deepak. Uh, Deep, Deepak Kumarji, thank you for donating 50 rupees. Your remark is very interesting. Thank you for making videos. I do try my best, and that's my whole job. I'm doing my best, so I'm very happy. Thank you for your donation, and thank you. So, okay, now what to do with the channel? So again, that's the project video. Again, that would be just a small session. I'm working a lot on electronics. You guys will see a very interesting shot in which I'm using the oscilloscope. So I'm learning that part out. It's a very interesting shot. I do expect it to work. And after that, of course, that fume extractor, I learned a lot about fan control, PWM fan control. I learned enough where I can understand what the hell is happening. So I want to share that part also. So electronics I will also add electronics, and then I'll keep upgrading, and hopefully I'll try to make a product. I do not intend to sell it. If it works, it works. But my whole point is I want to share the journey of idea, concept to actually making it like what it takes until like actually making money out of it. Because while I'm very good at many things, I'm 100% useless when it comes to making money. Other than that, everything is sorted. Just that part I suck. So yeah, such is life. So, but again, it would be a very good learning experience, and not to mention, it is possible nowadays. Back in the days, it was not possible, but nowadays you can very easily do it. You can start with an idea. You have a lot of free open source software, so you do not even have to worry about any software licensing. You can a lot of fabrication of not just PCB way or JSL PCB. There are many options. Heck, there are many Indian options also, and a lot of European options. Of course, they may not be as price competitive, but you may find something that is just right for you. For that reason, I would say if you have an idea and you really think it's worth prioritizing it, go YOLO on it. I have seen some amazing work from YouTube community, even from small channel. I'm not just talking about like large channel. I just watched a fan controller made by digital fan controller, which was not just like a replicating control scheme of a fan to every fan. It was dedicated fan controller, and it was like amazing, mind-boggling video. And you open sourced it, and like PCB, everything is there. So if you want it, you can just take the file, order it into basically dump the file into any fabrication shop, and they'll give you a piece. So that's awesome. I'm also planning for something similar but bit different core. So do you also do paid research? If somebody pays me, I'm more than happy to research for it. But I generally just used to do what you call sorry, what is the word for it? Consultancy. I do offer consultancy for those who can afford it, because again, that's not my main aim. Again, I may try to make it into a like actual business, but I do research. If people are willing to pay for it, I'll do it. Sometimes people have donated a large sum of money for research of a particular topic, like for example, agriculture. I had no interest in agriculture, but somebody paid a large sum of money for me to just cover that topic, so I did my best. So I do paid research if somebody pays for it. As simple as that. If somebody pays for it, I'm gonna go YOLO on it. uh, to best of my ability. Of course, if you pay me for quantum research, I'm sorry, that level is bit beyond me. So anything that is within reason and within my capabilities, I'll do my best if that is a requirement. As to electronics, things are just getting interesting. I'm learning exponentially lot. I started with like, oh, I'm gonna do this. Then I started like, yeah, it does not work that way. And oh my God, the buying fans is a hassle. Buying fan is a much bigger hassle than I originally anticipated. So that's an issue. I'm still waiting for fan because I ordered a high RPM, as in like 3000 RPM or 120 millimeter fan. That is 38 millimeter depth. It's like big thick boy. How can we deal with old people? Yeah, that's an again. If I think this individual is coming from my Hindi channel's live stream, so in that I specified that old people. It's a very simple. shocking conundrum that we are in this time. Because yes, if you look back in the history, you will find that while some people used to live very long time, like people who are in royalties most of the time, or like landlords or things of that nature, they used to live very long time. Peasants had surprisingly poor life length, as in many of them were like poofed 40 and 50s. And in case of India just get its independence 75 years ago, 76 years ago, and it was very brutal. Like for a few years, it was so bad. It was like because it's not bad as in like there was nobody living that long. It was just like so much diseases were happening, so much infant mortality was there, that number average wise was very brutal. Now this is the first time in humanity that, let's say, from year 2000, that 90-year-old is just a thing. Like everybody is just expected to reach 90 years old. It comes with its own problem that we had no prior experience in dealing with it. Yes, that includes Japanese and Chinese also. Like we never had this sort of weird conundrum or situation. So this is a very interesting channel. How do you do? Hi buddy, Pascal, what is your minimum you charge? Depends on the topic. Which topic you are likely to research if opportunity is available? Basically, right now, let me be very clear. I'm remove my bank account, everything else is awesome in my life except my bank account. So right now I'm in a situation where if my bank account goes there, I'm gonna go there, as simple as that. But of course I will avoid some topics like money and quantum physics and things of that nature. Other than that, everything else is fair game. I'm hearing disturbance from your mic sometimes when you move your hand fast. Okay. Maybe it's catching vibrations from my table, but that should not be an issue. This is the first time I'm hearing that. That should not be a big an issue. Okay, anyway. Yeah. So this old people issue is that you can divide human lifespan in three sections. So 0 to 30 is a child age, 30 to 60 is adult, and 60 to 90 is old. Now, our brain is not neuroplastic throughout the lifespan. It does not remain neuroplastic. So once you start to cross 60, you reach a point where it's very hard for you to truly be flexible. Now, of course, predal distribution applies. Some people will have genetic gifts. Some people genuinely would be that smart, but majority of humans are not that. Let that be very clear. You can always take exceptions, but that's not how you govern a society. You always have to take the bulk load. So in bulk load, humanity is just like after 60, majority of people are just not what you call adaptive enough. Meaning, you could have a scenario where they are saying something and you are telling them that, bro, you are wrong, and they will not accept it. You can give them math, they will not accept it. You can be absolutely factually true, they will just not accept it, because again, it's in their previous mindset. Let's say example, why do you think all the legislator body, like all the old and gray people that are like half in crypt, they are like they do not take student loan crisis seriously, because when they were young, when their brain was neuroplastic, when they were learning things, it was easy for them. It was like relatively like, oh yeah, of course they had to work their ass off. They worked in second jobs, third jobs, but they had the ability to make enough money to pay it off. It does not compute in their brain. Like fundamentally, the data does not go that that's not possible anymore. They actually think inside, it's like, oh, these are lazy people. It's like they do not even compute that you have to work for hundreds of years to pay it off. It like just does not go here. Neuroplasticity is gone. Like it will, they will not accept it. They will die, but they will not accept it that world has changed. And problem with that is this is the first time in human history that so many old people have the steering wheel under control. So basically from 60 to 90 they have steering wheel. I'm like, that's just bad. That is just bad. So in your opinion, books change book brain change itself? I do not get it. Like a brain change itself, as in like I do not get context. What is the context that you're talking about here? So that's the whole point. Like with old people very specifically, if lot of old people are like, of course, let that be very clear. Of course, somebody will take, oh, this individual is like, dude, look, even Newton also. Most of thing he did was before 30. Same with Einstein. Take most of the people, like that's how it is. That's why I'm saying 30 to 60 is your like bulk load. After 60, you have to let steering wheel go, especially if you are controlling the trajectory of the civilization. Because yes, many people who do not understand economy has a lag period to it. They will focus on the rich people and the 1% and old people, and they're like, see, so much growth is happening, GDP is happening. It's like, no, that's not true. Now, like, wait a minute, how is not true if it's real? Well, here's the, it's laggard data, meaning the data is coming from the past. What you have to focus on today is what's happening today that will affect tomorrow. So how do you get that data? You focus on what's happening from 20 to 30-year-old. That's your specific target point. What's happening to these? Are these people able to grow properly? Are these people able to uh, ascend in life? Basically, have they started up from a point where they're like, okay, we have our education, now we are trying to pay it off, now we are figuring out things out, now we are getting into property, we are doing investment. How they are performing from 20 to 30, and especially from 30 to 40. Now, if majority of kids that are crossing, let's say 30 to 40, like they are touching that phase right now, and all of them are like, bro, I'm living hand to mouth, that means your future, as in 30 years from now, would be horrible. Now, of course, a lag will always happen. It's the same thing. You plant something today, you reap it, next season. It's not supposed to like, oh, I planted mango tree today, I'm gonna take mango tomorrow. That's not how it works. Like, the best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. The next best is now. So if you want to understand what's happening right now, do not focus on old people. Do not focus on Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or, these people who have sorted it out. Focus on kids specifically from 20 to 30. What is their trajectory, and 30 to 40. If these two things are good, in good direction, you're sorted, which it is not. Every country, it is not in good position. Worldwide, it's going in horrible direction. Of course, because if you're focusing on large numbers, top 1%, everything is fine. But it's like that 20 to 30 zone, it's in really dark situation. So that's why we really have to create a scenario where we do not let steering wheel of our civilization go into old people. Like, we have to accept it. It's like, even if there is like 5 or 6 people who are like, god level intelligent, we have to be reaching a point where it's like, you are not neuroplastic enough, where it's like we have to accept it. Like, we kind of accept it in army, we kind of accept in many fields, but not every field. Like, but again, this is a new thing. This is the first time it's happening. Can we learn and change any, but speed is a real. So old people are not the problem. Again, we know this. Like, why old people are not fast? Why? Again, their age has a physical component to your brain. Like, we know this. You can test it in MRI. Yeah, of course there will be edge cases. Of course there will be. But majority are not like that. It's like it's a known thing. We know this. We understand. This is the first time we are happening into on a large scale where majority of the steering wheel people, basically people who are steering your country, they are from ancient times. How ancient? I'm not joking. This is a real. Many countries, yes, after 2000s had laws governing internet utilizing the rule book that was written for telegram. And I do not mean telegram of your mobile phone. Telegram like titi 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 Morse code. Yeah, literally that's how it was written and it was governed. Imagine how bad it would be. And yeah, that's why it is so bad. That's why like it's so hard for like basically old people to grasp like why net neutrality was important. And you can see like almost all countries just like, who cares, who cares, who cares, and then they're like, oh, it's important. Oh, like, what, why privacy is important? Oh, who cares? It's like, oh, it always happens. Like, we learned this the hard way, that 0 to 30 you learn, 30 to 60 you implement, 60 to 90 you let the steering wheel go. Now, of course, if you have your own company, go YOLO on it. You built it, you earned it. Steering wheel of the civilization, that's the place where we cannot have that. Like, we have to have humility where it's like, bro, my time is done. And not to mention, there is a second factor also. Even if older than 60-year-olds are in the office, what does that mean? That simply means no one is qualified enough. Like, there is some government, if I'm not mistaken, Italy or somewhere, there like 96-year-old was running for election and something. I was like, are you actually telling me that there is no young one that is from the age, like, that adult period from 30 to 60-year-old that is worthy? Like, literally, what are you saying? Like, what happened to this? Like, what happened? So same thing. If you want to make a new business, we have to focus on the rich problem. People problem to earn. We should who should be focused on today? No, I'm saying to understand, not to solve. That's not my department. What is happening? You focus on 20 to 30, what is their trajectory, and 30 to 40, how many things are working out. Because seriously, no matter how good its time is, like let's say after World War II, USA went into a boom period. It was like, whoa. Like, you wanted to print money, that was the era. That was the era where it was like there's an interesting book. I may, oh no, I have it upstairs. Psychology of Money. It was a really good book, and I would urge you to read it. They talked about like a data graph and how that the post-war boom happened and all that. Everybody was scared back then. Everybody was scared. What will do? Like, this will crash the economy. But again, it worked out. It was golden period. Now again, even in that time, does not mean every person who was like had a good 20s to 30s became a better like in the 30s for many have fallen, but majority, let that be very clear, majority was good. That's why country was like growing. Now if you do not see that, That's a red sign. That's like something is bad is happening. That's basically, I'm telling you how you can observe today, not 10 years from now, today. Focus on that 20 to 30, 30 to 40. How many people in 20 to 30 have sort life their like trajectory? Basically, that's the first stage of their life. So, rocket first stage. So, how they are progressing in that? Like, are they in good track? That's how they have sorted that out. Based on that, you can predict what's going to happen. For example, how do I know China's situation is not good? Now, here's the China filters out way too much. So that's the first sign. If everything coming out of China is like good, magic, awesome, that means it's BS. Like everybody who knows enough about humanity knows that cannot happen. Like under known laws of science and human psychology, you cannot have only good news. Okay, so let that out there. Second, they BS too much. Again, as a interesting nerd, I can figure it out when they're like, "We have made sun." No, you made a fusion reactor. You called it sun. Does not mean you actually made a sun. Does not mean you achieve break-even fusion. And way too many people fall for it. That is painful. We made microwave jet engine. No, you did not. You just made a flamethrower. And I have a detailed video about it. Like, and that's why you did not see real world photo of it. So that's how I figured out like China is not as oomph as they're like people are claiming. But here's the deal. Whenever you're talking about dictatorship or communism or things like they generally avoid talking about problems. They do not like because everything is good, it's utopia and all that. But if they're talking about a problem, that means it's extremely bad. You can take a very good example. Look into Putin's posture from the start of the war versus now. So how do we know the war is not going well? Again, that could be Western propaganda. But here's the how do you filter it? Well, look into Putin's mouth. When it started, special military operation, minor inconvenience. Who gives a damn about it? I'm gonna do it, what I want to do. I got this. Nobody's gonna stop me. That's how he started, right? Special military operation. Like, imagine insulting a country like that, where it's like, oh, dude, you are not even worthy of me. It's like, bruh. But then look at it right now. As later years, you reached a point where he's literally saying this is in Russian, directly translated from a Russian TV channels, not just like oh propaganda cut edited. No, directly from Russia, Putin's mouth in Russian. We need a breakthrough. It's like what happened? That means it's a really bad. That means the number that they are saying, which be mindful, that could be a bit higher. They are saying 500,000 casualty. I think it's much higher than that. And again, this is not Stalin era where their reproduction was healthy. They are below replacement level, meaning anybody who's dying now, they are not getting replaced. So they are at around replacement rate is 2.1. Every woman must be at 2.1, then only you have a country. If it goes below 2.1, you die. Of course, you die slowly. It's not a quick thing. But their current rate is 1.6. And they have been doing this from Afghan war, that was like 10 years of bloodshed. Then Chechnyan war, that was another 8 years of bloodshed. Current 2 years of bloodshed. So their male population is literally 1 to 2% decline in every age group. So you take basically 18 to 15 years old, there is a few percent dip. 20 to 30 years old, few percent dip. Like there is a dip. There's a dip, giant dip. So, and because he's talking about it, now I know this is serious. This is not working as he was expecting. To be fair, anybody's like, dude, what are you doing for past 2 years? So it's one of those things. And same goes with China. Xi Jinping is directly now talking about let it rot movement. That means it has gotten to a threshold where it's like, oh, it's affecting them. It's affecting the dictators. That means it's bad. Like that's the easiest way to filter. If dictator talks about it, that means it's bad. Like it's just bad. So again, that's their young people. They are not thriving. They are not growing. Their life is not in a good trajectory. What they have is rich people growing. And again, government is directly puffing them. Like, for example, Jack Ma's company was literally forcefully taken, not a government case, not as like, anti-competition. No, it's like, I decided it's like, F you, split your companies into things. If that's how CCP is treating their, like, golden goose, imagine what they will do to average individual, and people are showing it. So that's what it is. So that's how I know. Thanks for explaining. So how you start your research work? What are your resources? How you study can do research work in less time? Can you share some tips that can save you from years of experience? You have to be talking about topic because it's more of a trend rather than toolkit. It's a more of a trend. SpaceX goals for Falcon 9 is to launch 148 times this year. What's your thought? I think it can be done. I think it can be done. They should be able to touch. I cannot guarantee it. Of course, we have to wait because again, weather is a component that they may be able to reach a point where they are like 13. What I'm saying, 13. 3 launches per what you call 3 launches per week. They should be able to touch it. So I think it could happen. It could happen. Yeah, people say China without understanding detail. Huh? Yeah, that's the whole point. That's how I know China claims everything. Oh, they claimed their EV penetration is 50%. How do I know it's BS? Look into their oil imports. Why they are importing? Like 50%, that did not drop your oil import? What the hell are you doing? Are you just buying it to throw it in the trash heap? Which, mind you, the trash heap of EV cars are so huge it can be seen from satellite. This was another way. That's how people realized that Corona affected them far more. Uh, Fortunately or unfortunately, depending how you say, it did poof out a very large group of old people for them. Way too much. How do we know? Crematoriums are working so furiously. There was a line packed up in all of them. It was so big, it was visible from satellite, and the furnaces that they were using was overfiring. So it was not efficient. So it was creating much smog, and that was visible from space. Like, that's how we know. So sometimes it's like, China claims everything. It's like, oh, we are the best and the best. It's like, dude, no. And be mindful, if you are chopping off your own citizens' passports, so you to stop their leaving your country. Yeah, no, no. That's like no. So, do you have any idea of space new flame trench? Yeah, the flame trench that they're working on is kind of interesting. It's actually deep, and they have a lot of what do you call water channel. This is they are building Mark II. Let that be very clear. Engineering rule number one: Mark one is always garbage. So Mark one is what they have. Mark two is what they're building the flame trench. So I think it will be far more directed. So if when you can direct it, it simplifies a lot of things. You do not want everything to go like that flat plate. That was just a rushed idea, or like Elon Musk just decided it's like, okay, so Mark II, the second flame trench, it's so logical. It's like, okay, you go here, I flow water in you, you go exactly where you need to go, you do not affect everything around you, you are passively safe. So so fundamentally speaking, it's basically Mark II variants. It's a very good design. uh, yeah, people such do you have any idea what space ho gaya? This English channel live chat is way to text you for free now. Hindi, yeah, Hindi is members only. Yeah, people can do that, but this is the weird part. Every single video I have on my channel, Hindi channel, has a link for English channel, and people, that's the first question they were asking, is like, where is the link for that? I'm like, does anybody even click description anymore? So there's a loophole. Yeah, loophole. Maybe there will be only 13 people live. Yeah, I do expect, I do not expect this channel to like just have a very large live audience. A, I'm speaking in English. B, this is not a regular thing. I have not grown this channel as much as I could have. Although now it's my attention where I'm like focus on gonna like, I will try my best to do live here regularly, slowly over time grow it to best of my ability. Again, let's see, because again, I'm in a very messy situation in my YouTube career, so to say. 6 years. So I had first 3 years was like exponential growth. Now last 3 years was like a kind of stagnant and slow decline. So now I have to change something drastically before I run out of money. So this is the current phase. I'm finding myself. So yeah, it is a new phase of, but I did learn a lot. Like, I'm genuinely shocked how much I learned just trying to just focus on one thing. It's like, and like CAD modeling. I generally used to do CAD modeling at evenings, and after it used to take weeks just to get something done. Now, as I'm doing it as a like core focus, this is what I'm doing. I'm getting it done so quickly. It's like, whoa. Again, there are people who are much better at multitasking. I'm not one of them, so I have to make do with what I am. So it is what it is. Yeah, so do expect me to design basically make more of tutorials for CAD, more for easy EDA. And now the reason I'm focusing on easy EDA rather than not free CAD is simply because no, why I'm saying free CAD. What's it called? Uh, I forgot the name of that software. EasyCAD has better library. That's why I'm using that library. So same thing. So all that things will trickle down the channel, and I realized like AI is stupid for me to even try to make animation, because again, as a single individual, it's barely gonna work, and it won't have enough throughput to be there. And to make a really good one, you do need a team, at least 2 3 people to get things done. So I am alone, so that's not gonna cut it. And again, I don't even like animation, because while it does look stimulating, it's stimulating your optical cortex. It's basically helping these puppy to process a lot, but this part is not working, frontal cortex is not working. So you can watch a lot of animation, but like actual depth of understanding would be surprisingly shallow. So this channel needs to survive. Yeah, I'll do my best, and again, it's financially necessary for me. So you thought, why YouTube removed other channels option when you want to go to other channel? I'm not sure what you're talking about exactly. What software do you use for CAD design? Solid. No, I use Fusion 360. Why Fusion 360? I was a game artist, so for that reason, I'm very familiar with Autodesk tools. Fusion 360 is from Autodesk. That was the first tool I had some experience trying out, and over years, I started chipping away at it. It has a very good interface, available for free, no piracy, no cracking, and all that. So all those things led me to using that, and it's good. It's a good tool, gets the job done. I'm happy with the interface. It does everything I needed to. I did try FreeCAD once, but I lost it. I know how to use tools, but holy damn, it was hard to use. So I just realized. Maybe start food vlogging occasionally. Just kidding. Nah, nah. Do you think Hyperloop trains will be useful on the moon again? You will still need a pipe so you can keep the dust off. You do not need to worry about vacuum, so that's good. You may not even pressurize the cabin. You may be like, hey, just wear a pressure suit. But again, you are talking about something that is so far ahead, it does not make a contextual sense to think about it. That's like at least 2 centuries away. At current rate of development and current rate of family structure destruction, I do not think we have that kind of good future right as of now, as of the data I have right now. So current data does not lead a good picture, especially once you remove that momentum. Like, of course, if you throw a rocket in space, it goes, but like it falls after a while. So same thing is happening here. So I'm seeing a lot of current work that is from our past that is working good, but in terms of future, if every Tom, Dick, and Harry is worried about their rent, their basically student loan, their health, their mental health, yeah, it's not a optimistic scenario. And be mindful, it's happening worldwide. So in terms of what can we do with uh, in space, I do see some growth, but it's more of like momentum rather than like, okay, this is our goal, this is what we are doing, something like that. I have stopped watching Kaskasat. No, Kaskasat is a good system, but you have to know already, because that's another thing. If you watch an animation and that's the first introduction, you do not understand anything. It just looks like a visual medium. It's like, oh, I thought at something, but I can quiz you about that topic after let's say 1 day or 2 day, and you will barely remember anything because your visual cortex was used, not the frontal cortex. Frontal cortex will only come under utilization if you actually know what you're looking at. So for that reason, that's why another thing they have to maybe I just put pop science. No, 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 the science is good. It's just, yeah, it is far more poppy. It's far more what you call yeah, it has a lot of butter masala, but it's not a bad system. Under no circumstance I will say it's bad. What are your thoughts on Windows on ARM? Microsoft is working their ass off, and they have two directional working on it. So Microsoft is trying to make ARM good. ARM is trying to becoming good at x86 emulation. So current processor that have been released by Snapdragon, that is currently under development, it is apparently good. Now, if it is actually good, be mindful, Apple also did the same thing, went from x86 to ARM, and because they had a Rosetta layer developed quite effectively, the jump was quite smooth. And some of the industry experts are talking about like we are moving above. Like back in the days, we actually used to code in machine code. Like look into the people who were required for Voyager Pro programming. It's literally bit by bit. They're actually, okay, this is the bit, this is the magnetic bit. Like that's how low level we were. Now we are one level above it. Now we are going even one layer above that. So he talked about something very interesting. It's like porting things from A to B is not as hard as it used to be. And once you port, like for example, a lot of supercomputers were ported from Intel based system to AMD based system. It took a lot of work. But again, any company that is worth their salt, they work their ass off. They made a pipeline. So jumping from now to another, they already have a pipeline, they already have a better tool set, so it's not as hard as it would have been in the past. So I can easily see in 5 to 10 years, or maybe less than 5 years, where ARM on Windows, it's like just it just works. Like you do not think about it, it just works. That can also happen. Why Russian economy is still growing stronger than G7 country after so many sanctions? Yeah, it's not growing. It's pretending to grow. It's exactly the same thing that happened with North Korea in the early phases of their splitting. Like, oh, everything is growing, everything is going. No, it was not. And again, all dictatorship for short duration can make their country economy go boom. But yeah, it has a consequences. We have learned this is one of those things. In short duration, everything other than democracy is rocks. The moment you stretch the time clock, the moment you're like, okay, what about 60 years? What about 70 years? That's the moment where you realize, oh, that's why. It's one of those things like on like short duration, you are like everything makes sense. It's like, oh, dictator, so smooth, so fast, so efficient, everything. It's just like after you lose the restraint, and you're like, ah, that's why we had restraints in the first place. So it's one of those things. Short duration, Russia is awesome, but here's it. Oligarchs are awesome. Russians are not. Like, again, I do have the luxury of actually talking to someone who is living in Russia. Their food costs are going up. Literally, one individual from Nepal who was studying in Russia after, like before the war started, I had directly talked while the war was going on. So I have actual like on ground experience that people who are on the ground, they are not good. Why do you think so many people left? Why do you think like, oh, everything is growing? Yeah, of course it can grow in the short duration. You're like, okay, ammunition jobs, like everybody works in the war economy. Of course it will work, boost in the short duration. But be mindful, same thing happened with Soviet Union. Everything was awesome. They just exploded afterwards. So be mindful. On paper, everything is awesome. The same thing with China. It's like if everything is awesome, run, run. Oh, there was another individual who's like, he has a very dedicated Czech channel. He was talks about Soviet Union technology, and what he showed was very awesome way of understanding it. Soviet Union had segregation of technology, so technology that was for showing off to the world for military brass. It was really good. So he was talking about an old printer made in 1970, thick metal, solid, like what Russian technology. Then he showed what was available for people. It was such a big garbage. You will say like, dude, modern printers are built better. That's how bad it was, and that was from 1970. And he literally showed like, this is the factory where it's made, this is the intent of it, and that's how you understand it. It's like why Soviet Union on paper everything was awesome, but in reality it was garbage. Same thing is happening right now with Russia. What do you think about gun laws of USA? That's not my country. I do not live in there. They grew around it. They are what, 275 years, I mean modern iteration, they are 275 years old. It's their world is different. It's like literally it would be like a European nation that is tiny nation, let's say Sweden or something, and trying to say how India should govern itself. It's like, bro, you are such a small nation with such a few language. Like your texture of like people available is so monotone. I had an art director, again my senior, and we were working on a game project. He went into Sweden. There was the head office there. We were outsourcing, so they went there, and I asked him, it's like, oh, what language do they speak? And he said Sweden. I was like, no, 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 Swedish and all that. It's like, no, no, what language they speak? Like, no, bro, it's not India. In India, we have to specify the language because again, let's see how many language I know by name. Hindi, English, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Kannada, Marathi, Gujarati, Bhojpuri, Bengali, Punjabi. That's just a few I know. There are 33 languages like that. So that's the whole thing. So fundamentally speaking, there's a different problem scale. So same way with USA, it's like it's very easy for other countries to say, "Oh, you should know other." Again, you are not 275 years old. You are not that. You did not went through their development path, their requirements. So it's completely different for them. Linux is already works on ARM. Yeah, but Linux is useless, no? The sole reason, let this be very clear, Linux in terms of programmers using it is awesome. Linux, whoever designs the UI of it, it's garbage. It's bad. It's useless. That's why it's not popular. That's why basically Linus Torvalds is not filthy rich. He could have been. But like flat out, every Linux developer has this brain damage mindset where they're like, you should learn it. It's like, no, you will die poor if you do that. That's the sole reason why Apple is a $2 trillion company. That's the sole reason Microsoft is. They work their ass off to make your life easy. Like, what do you think Amazon is working their ass off in Amazon Web Services to make your life easy? What Linux are doing? It's free, it's open source, deal with it. It's like, no, you have to categorize it, you have to work on it, you have to make it smooth, you have to make it easy to use. That's the word they are hiss on it. It's like, shh. I work in command prompt. It's like I never have to touch command prompt when I'm working on Windows, and I do complex things. I do electrical schematics on it. I literally did game modeling in it. I literally did game programming on it. I literally downloaded images from a satellite on a Windows computer. That's how easy it was. I did it. Like it's on my Instagram. You can check it. So all of that, never even have to type the command. Linux, yeah, I'm done. That's the whole point. Like they do not value user interface. They do not make it what we call foolproof. They do not just make it, it's easy. There is no language, there is no direction. And because everybody fights on it, it's worse. And because there are so many variations, that simply means all of them are garbage. It's like, it's the same thing. If you have 10,000 variation, that means all are bad. You should only have few. Like if somebody says, hey, this is specifically built for NAS, that would make sense. If this is definitely made for desktop PC, like how Windows is, how Mac is, you do not discuss it other than that. Mac or Windows, done, go home. And only thing in that is age. It's like XP, Vista, 7, 8, 8.1, 9. Windows 9 happened? Or, yeah, Windows 9 and Windows 11 and 12. You see, it's a linear vector. Same with Mac OS. It's like, 7, 8. They used to have different name, Leopard and Panther or things of that nature. And then they brick by brick. Linux, oh, I have no idea. Use Ubuntu, 90% of people will hate you. Use Mint, 90% of people will hate you. Use Arch, 90% of people will hate you. Everything is like that. And that's the whole problem. That's why Linux never grows. For desktop, let that be very clear. For programmer, it works awesome. For people who are getting paid to deal with it, it's awesome. But people like me who just want to use the computer to do the computation is worst. So I have worked with also I had technology Bangalore offered 13.k production for weapon missile harness. I regained I'm 36 hand to mouth better than low paying job they are hiring contractual basis. Yeesh. Yeesh. Like imagine you are working on something that high level and that's the outcome. It's like you are living in hand to mouth. Like you do not, and or to be fair, it is really bad everywhere. For example, there was a big Indian YouTuber who was not YouTuber, like he's a personality, and he was talking about like financial management. There was a couple. Both of the couples were doctors, like a husband wife doctor duo, and they were talking about how they have to downsize because they have two cars. And I'm like, if doctors have to downsize, who the hell is making the money? That's the whole point. Snapdragon processor cannot be purchased easily. Forget about off the shelf. I bet on Risk 5. Let's see. Let's see. Again, these things do take time. These things do take time. So patience would be advisable. Inflation is also going up in Western countries. Yeah, of course, it's going up. So the old people problem you discussed earlier. I think the problem of some highly intellectual is also a problem. They also listen once and then encircle themselves. See, there is no scenario where you can have everybody is being as smart as humanly possible. That's not happening. So what we do is average out. That's why we have to understand predal distribution, meaning you can take a messed up country like which has so much corruption is destroying itself. Let's say example South Africa, but you can take one individual. Let's say you can say Elon Musk, and then you can be like, oh, everything is fine because Elon Musk came from there. It's like that's not how it works. You design the country and you focus on the majority of it. So you can take any school, and then you focus on majority of students. You do not focus on straight A students because they straight A student means they are so good at self study they are sorting themselves out. You do not focus on them because every school, every district, every single unit of school has few kids that are that good, but you focus on majority. It's like, of course there is also the hopeless parts of them, but you should always focus on what is happening to, let's say, 50% of the kids. Like, are 50% of kids going in and coming out good? That's awesome. If that is not happening, you have messed up. Let that be very clear. That's the easiest way to judge a school. 50%, I'm being way too optimistic. It should be at least 60, 70%. But you get the point. Like, right, if that's how you track a school. It's like, okay, MIT. I look into MIT and let's say 5,000 people graduated annually. Okay, now I trace all of them from, let's say, year 2000. Okay, 5,000 graduated. How many of them sorted them out? And I sample them, let's say, every 5 years. Are you in good? Or like, are you doing what you're dealing with this? Like, HFS and all that. And you trace a lot of them. Because again, some will always be genius. But again, how do you filter out which school is genius? Majority should be genius. That's the whole point. One or two people will always be genius. But like again, IIT. IIT in India is like basically all the billionaires in America, many of them are Indian IITs. But here's it does not mean every IIT student is gonna have such an awesome time. Heck, 30 to 40% cannot even find a job. Same university, same stamp. Indian government, Indian Institute of Technology, IIT. Some are literally becoming chairman of the World Bank, running big corporations. Others are like, bro, I cannot even get a job. So you always focus on the large group of people, what's happening with them. So intellectual people, one intellectual people, you should not rely on civilization on one intellectual people. You should always have a large enough buffer group where you can even it out. So yeah, it's not as smooth, it's not as what you call adaptive or fast, but it does work in long term. Let that be very clear. In long term, we have learned it the hard way. Like that's the benefit of averaging. It's almost like what you call index funds. Where it's like it's averaging so much that of course you look at, oh, it's very slow growth. Look into 10 years, it's like look into 20 years, it's like ultra time. So same goes in everything. You have to be very cautious of, like, not selecting the best of the best. Best of the best can give you like really really skewed results. We have to be really cautious about it so we do not like create a scenario where it's like messy situation. Yeah. So we have to be really mindful. This is the first time that's happening. This is the first time majority of Congress people, majority of parliament people, majority of elected governments, they are so ancient where it's like, damn. Did you read Congress manifesto as full of freebies and reservation? Do you think they need better leadership? Of course, I think they need better leadership, but its problem is not in leadership. Problem is our stupidity that we do not have a good voting system. We have first past the post. That simply means once you basically majority wins. Problem with that is that creates a violence. That's like fundamentally it's a system that you use for children. For adult, you must have what we call there are many systems for it. I have a dedicated video on that, but like you have multi-option. What does that mean? That simply means you offer in choices. So your first choice, your second choice, your third choice, and the person who has majority only gets it. Not first past the post. Like if you cross 51%, you get the get to rule. No, you have to be majority, and majority can be very high, like 75%. What does that mean? That simply means it creates three company rather than only two party system. It creates three party because somebody will be moderate, both of them will be extreme, one would be moderate. So people could be like, hey, this is my guy, but like if I have to not select him, if like let's say that is not, what is the second best option? Of course I'm not gonna, what about moderate? This selection is moderate. Now if you apply the 75%, always moderate will, and that will tone down both ends. That's on the fundamental voting issue. Now thankfully some of the European nations on a base level, mayor level selections, they have started to utilize that. So you have lot of option, like 5 options, and you are like first priority, second priority, third priority, fourth priority, and then they tally it up. So if let's say fourth priority, right, everybody's fourth priority, but 95% of people are like, dude, my fourth priority, that they will select that. So that creates less anger, resentment in people. You do not want what we have right now. Like that's a childish system somebody decided to agree on, like in old Victorian era, and we are stuck with it. It's like, bro, it's for children, it should not be used for a nation, but we do use it. What can we do? uh, hmm. Would you also make electronics video for S2T English? I just joined now. Yeah, of course. Of course. All my videos will be Hindi in English. I'll do my best to do so. That's the whole point of this English channel. Risk 5 is awesome. Jim Keller, the CEO of Archived x86, has a lot of good things about it. Of course, it's good. Like engineering first rule. You do it first or you do it better. X86 was awesome. It made computer what it is right now. So any Tom, Dick and Harry can talk about, oh, it has so much bloat. It was the foundation on which you are standing. But again, same thing happens. Like take any dam, any bridge, look at the first few large variants of it. You'll say, oh, this is not how they had done it. Like this is not the good one. It's like, that's true. But here's the, how do you know that? Somebody did it. Somebody risked it. Then they got that knowledge. Same with x86. Why ARM is better? Because it was always focusing on low power devices. It was always in that ecosystem. RAM became exponentially cheaper, and then people like Tokyo drifted into that. So x86 is awesome for what it is, for when it came from. And RISC V has the advantage. It has two legacy systems that it can study. It can study a CISC system, complex instruction set architecture of x86. It can study RISC architecture, reduced instruction set architecture, that is from ARM. It can study both of them, take the best of both worlds, and then make a fresh new stock. Do not have to worry about legacy code based. And because they are doing it open source, they have so many people working on it. Of course, it would be good. I expect it to be good. It's like, what is the point? It's like, I'm gonna make a new laptop. It's gonna be garbage than the old one. It's like, what's the point? Same thing. So I do expect it to be. Yeah, it's crazy. We have awesome secure payment system, but voting is ancient. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Voting systems are like, it hurts. It's like, why we do not have multi-voting system. Age of should be low in India. I want to know a point of view. It does not affect me. I'm too old and I do not care. I do not see future anymore, so I'm done. Oh, one little note. Another reason why I'm like next week would be very messy is like I have a quoted it on, what is the date? 30th Tuesday. I have to travel there. It's gonna be expensive fuel wise, and it's like a 4 hour travel. Then I have to come back 4 hours, and then I have to whole day. It's like it's. I'm not emotionally rock solid enough where like court case does not affect me. It does bother me. I'm reaching there. I'm reaching, but I'm still a child basically who's like got hurt by small things. So a case is going on for 3 years. I have changed judges, by the way. Like that's how long this case is. Two judges on, like there are 3 cases total. Two judges on one field, two judges on another field. So yeah, it does affect me. So I do apologize. So we should be able to vote from home and even on topics being discussed in parliament. That's not necessary. See, that is why I'm talking about like having what you call representation rather than like just first past the post. Because if you have representation, what people would be voting on, the company has to have like a, let's say every party will have to have a, let's say one party is completely right, one party would be completely left, one party would be completely middle, one party would be a little bit middle of like 25% right, 75% left, one other would be 75% left, 25% right. You get the point. Like there would be a variation, four variation would be there mathematically speaking. And benefit of that, people will always be choosing the most moderate option. And benefit of moderate options is, yes, it's slow on growth, but it's good on stability. You have good cohesion, social cohesion. And we do not value social cohesion, even though this is literally the cement that binds the civilization. If you do not have good civilization, everything falls apart. We have learned this the hard way. And this current era would be our, what you call, hard bitch slap moment, where people are like, oh, if you destroy the family unit, everything else falls apart. Because of the laggard in that term, it's like, yeah. There should be a term limit in Indian, just like USA. Of course, I thoroughly, from whole my heart, I agree to that. There has to be term limit. You cannot just have one individual in position of power for way too long. It never ends good. Like look into African nations, most of them suffered this same fate. They also had like people do not understand, like all Africa also got this their independence almost at the same time as India did, but India has grown exponentially because we have two party system. Yeah, none of them are good. Let that be very clear. I do not like either one of them, but because they kept changing, they kept each other kind of under check. Right now, it's not looking good, and I'm scared. Again, I would have been scared if I was like married, having a kid, or planning a future. It's like I'm done with those, so I do not care. As in, like, it's out of my hands anyway. So who cares? Um, yeah. Could you share what the court case? No, no, I will not share. It's a personal case. Yes, it was my fault. That's it's happening on me. I should have what you call known better. Should not have trusted people who I did trusted. But such is life. Such is life. Most people have guessed what this case is. So if you are clever enough, you can guess it. Don't the court know the value of your time? Lol, no. Court does not care. Like there was a case, recent case. It made me. It was so horrible, so horrifying that it made me laugh. It was like, it's like something goes so bad, you go to insanity. This happened. Like this literally happened. Not even joking it or making it up. Let me share that detail. Hold on. Just a minute. I'm very sorry about this. Uh, where was that? Yeah. Yeah, this happened to a Indian armed forces man, like soldier basically. Man accused of false rape case. After 21 years, Supreme Court finally cleared his name. 21 years. I was like, he was so quick, man. So quick, so fast, man. 21 years. That's just like, so if it's happening to Indian armed forces, what chance do I have? But it is what it is. It's like I'm done with this what you call mortal realm. It's like I only have now science and my nerd. My nerd is the only thing that is keeping me alive, basically. The nerd inside me. When I was a child, I wanted to do so much nerdy things and did not have money, did not have the courage, did not have the balls to do it. Now I have. So everything else has faded away. This is my new world. This is I enjoy it. I love it. And removing money aside, like if you put money aside, everything else in my life is awesome. Yeah, even with court case. Yeah, it's bad, it's annoying, but like only have to go there, what I will say, a few times a year. So it's not that bad. Frustrating, expensive, burns a lot of fuel, like which hurts my pocket, but I'll survive. I'll scrape by, so to say. So all things considered, my life is very awesome at this point in time. It's just like I have to truly appreciate it psychologically, emotionally, and grow. So but I no longer see future anymore. Like futures, I deleted my what you call future part of it. It's just like done. Put emphasis on let it rot movement in China. Yeah. Uh, if your base is stable, only then people can start aspiring. Yeah, there is no scenario where it's like Louis Rossman was talking about something very awesome, where it was like, if you keep creating things that corroding the civilization, corroding the social fabric, it's not gonna end well. Basically, if you have different set of rules, it's like, for one party this is the rule, another party is completely different, and you keep doing this, it erodes faith. It erodes faith in what you call justice system. Once it's done, it does not end well. It does not end well. Like vengeance starts to replace justice system. We have learned the hard way that that's not a good healthy system. That's why we created justice system. But if justice system rots, becomes slow, becomes lol, who gives a shit, it has consequences. And yes, I mean violent consequences. So, and again, it's like we this is the first time in humanity where old people are so hostile to young generation, where it's like you're actively working your ass off to destroy a youngling's life. And I'm like, the worst example is that in China, all the party members, they are gods. So they have what we call rejuvenation surgeries, organ rejuvenation service. Till this day, I did not understand what the hell that means, organ rejuvenation surgeries. Like, this is in their official website, CCP website, where it's like, he's like out of office for like, 1 month because he's going through rejuvenation surgery. I'm like, till last time, there is no technology that allows you to rejuvenate organs. Then I realized it's a code word for organ harvesting. They are literally harvesting younglings, literally younglings, as in like school, college was kids. Oh, you have the right blood code. Your life poofed. Your organ to 70 and 80-year-old man. That's literally happening. And again, if this sort of old people and other old people are not poofing this old person who's like, you know what, I'll take kidney from a youngling, and other old people are like, dude, what the hell are you doing? That civilization has to die. Like, they're going against nature. Nature is past, present, future. You do not go past, present, past. No, 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 no. Nature is like, bro, future will come. Future will come. So it's one of those things where it's like let it rot movement has severe consequences, and by the time people realize it, it will be too late. So is there anything that we can do to help to make this case close soon as possible? Nah, it's court. So again, I talked about like if it's a armed soldier, it's like he has to, क्या बोलते हैं? He has to spend 21 years. Like, I do not even have to, I should not even count it. I'm reached a point, like, again, emotionally I'm trying to reach that point where it's just like n minus how many dates I have had. Date as in like quote dates. So I'm not counting anymore. It's like it's 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. It's just like I'm trying to reach a point where it's just like it's something that's happening someday in the future. If I'm not dead, it will be like, oh, this is over finally. So it is like that. Yeah, it has penalties, but it is what it is. I committed the sin. I'm paying for it. I should have known better, but such is life. You trust the wrong people. There is a saying in Hindi, uh, very potent saying, where it's like, जीवन में और चिता में अपने ही आग लगाते हैं. Basically, we have the tradition of cremation. So someone of your family member has to want to give you fire, basically, to release you from this mortal realm. And the saying is that in your life and in your death, the only people who put fire to you is your own people. And it has like very layered meaning, where it's like the people you call your own is the people who can stab you. It's the same saying about like, the worst part about betrayal, it never happens from the enemy, it always happens from someone you trust. So I'm experiencing that. It's painful, but it is what it is. There's no point crying about the spilt milk. So anyway, looking at the time, it's 57 minutes. Yeah, 1 hour is over. It was a surprisingly interesting. I'm actually shocked. At least managed to maintain almost 15 concurrents view. So thank you so much, and I will do my best to keep this live thing a regular thing. And hope to see you guys next week. Bye.